we feel like we're just sports fans representing other sports fans. We're fans serving fans, if you will.
Why don't we get the show rolling here with some social media buzz?
If we're fans first and we're not sitting on our high horse and we really listen, they're going to give us a lot of cheat codes on how to serve them.
I'm going to show you some of the best things going on right now.
Second offensive possession for Tennessee.
Welcome to Storyteller Live, where we have the chance to interview some of the world's best content minds. And today we're very lucky to be on site here at Fox Sports, which is one of the world's best brands in sports content. And I have the distinct pleasure of sitting directly next to Mr. Michael Bucklin,
Thank you.
Who is the Vice President of Digital Content for Fox Sports. So Buck, tell me a little bit about your team and what you guys do.
I would love to tell you about our team. I like to brag about our team. You can see a lot of them back here behind me. We're Fox Sports Digital. We represent Fox Sports content across all digital properties, whether that's our website, our app, social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, also anywhere you consume podcasts, iTunes. We're very blessed because we are a nimble digital team that is supported by some of the best rights portfolio or best rights in sports media.
Tell me a little bit about the portfolio that you and the team represent.
Yeah, I think we have some of the best rights in the business. The last 2 summers we had the Men's World Cup, the Women's World Cup. This past weekend we had the Red River Showdown, Texas OU. Next week we got the World Series.
You
Sunday,
guys just launched WWE.
Launched WWE SmackDown. It's
Yeah.
been absolutely one of the most exciting things that I think anyone on this team has worked on in a while. It's wild to see what a digital reach they have. But we have the NFL. We have 40% of NFL viewing. We're very blessed. This February we have the Super Bowl. We're very lucky to have this incredible rights portfolio, but beyond just having that rights portfolio and covering those events, we really pride ourselves on taking people behind the scenes of those events, giving people all access to those events. I like to point, this past weekend we were in Dallas at Red River, and we had producers on the sideline, mobile phones, all access, right at the pylon, the action's coming right at us with these unique camera angles. After the game, we run onto the field with the winning team. We follow Jalen Hurts through his entire post-game celebration to the moment where he puts on the golden hat.
Yep.
And the beauty of having, a digital producer on site is they're very mobile. They got that phone. I think we had the best shot of Jalen Hurts putting on the golden hat, in the building. And that's the kind of access that we like to provide to these marquee events.
Yeah, I mean, the world is happening so fast around us. Everybody's got phones in their pocket, and they're filming, at the speed of a billion, taps of their finger.
And if it's not us that captures it,
Yep.
Someone in the arena might,
Yep.
and we have the ability to tap into that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts is, I think that people like people a lot more than they like brands.
Yeah.
And we have this roster of 250 talent that I think are the best in the industry.
Yeah.
And we're so lucky to be able to tell stories through the eyes of these talent that have their own massive, massive audiences. And so it makes our jobs a lot easier when we can go into a Saturday and be prepared for Gus Johnson to have a viral moment over a highlight. Because everyone might have the highlight, but we have Gus Johnson, God's gift to football, covering the highlight.
Yep.
We have Joel Klatt, who just has this ability to break down the sport in a way that few do, and loves digital. And I could name 100 more talent, but we're just very blessed to be able to tell stories through the eyes of our roster of personalities.
Well, and you get a chance to directly affect even, how they view the program, and you've almost been a teacher in some sense. And when we're talking about how even social media and all the real-time content plays into your shows today.
It's full circle. We tell the talent what people are talking about.
Yep.
They talk about those things and other things.
Yep.
Those things are, conversations that are already happening online.
Yeah.
So they tend to perform better. And then the talent love it. Yeah. So then the talent amplify their own content. And a fan might ask them a question and they might reply. And it's just very cyclical. And we're just blessed to have talent with millions and millions of followers.
It's absolutely incredible. So walk me back a little bit and tell me a little bit about how did you actually get your start? How did you get into being a storyteller?
Sure. I think first and foremost, I don't think I planned for this, expected this. I don't think I did this intentionally.
Yeah.
I was a walk-on basketball player at the University of Georgia that wanted to be a coach one day. My father was a walk-on basketball player, became a coach. My uncle was a walk-on basketball player that became a coach. My brother was a walk-on basketball player that became a coach. And my cousin just walked on, and he wants to be a coach. So there was this real bloodline of this is what you do, and I always wanted to do it.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, I was always making things, from a kid, just filming myself, playing NBA Jam with my buddy.
Yep.
We'd go voiceover as if we were broadcasters. I used to make I had a sports blog in college that my friends contributed to. I used to enter student film festivals and actually did okay in them.
Yeah.
But I just like to make things. I remember downloading Photoshop off LimeWire and making CD album covers for my friends.
Yeah.
It's just fun to make things. And so
The mixtapes.
I thought I was going to be
Yeah.
a coach one day. I was always making things on the side. And one day I met this guy named Brian Movelson.
Okay.
He had the greatest job on the planet. He was like the global brand ambassador for EA Sports. And on weekends, he would go in the booth with Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit, and he'd be their spotter for like the A college football game of the week.
Oh.
And I met him one day, and he was like, hey, we got this big partnership we're announcing with ESPN. If you want to put your coaching dreams aside for the fall,
Yeah.
we could use a freelancer to help start the partnership. I was like, well, what does the partnership entail? And he's like, well, as part of the partnership, we're going to make EA Sports video games look exactly like ESPN broadcasts. I was like, okay, go on.
Yeah.
And he's like, and you get tons of free video games in order to make sure you're testing them and make sure those graphics are right. I was like, wow, that sounds about the greatest job in the world.
Yeah,
I'll do that for 6 months. And just opened doors and doors and doors after that. Stayed involved in digital things.
Yeah.
And eventually moved out here to LA.
So yeah, you were at ESPN for 10 years?
10 years, yeah.
Yeah. And what brought you to Fox Sports?
Fox Sports was looking to make some adjustments in the way they covered sports in the digital space.
Yeah.
And, there were some shifts in programming strategy happening. And I was fortunate enough to know some people here. And
Yeah.
they gave me a call and said, do you want to be part of it? It's going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of hours. It's
Yeah.
going to be weekends. It's going to be nights. It's going to be holidays. But it's a pretty awesome opportunity to really build something.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you and I have shared stories before that you're an entrepreneur in a sense, and
Sure.
and we both share the fact that we were kind of OGs of social media going way back to all the way when organic was really the thing, and there wasn't even a paid advertising play involved. So getting to see how these channels evolve and be a part of it, and then to be able to get the opportunity to come to such a major brand like Fox Sports and build that from the ground up is pretty incredible.
It's a dream job.
Yeah.
It's a dream job, and to be able to hire what I think is the best people
Yeah.
in the industry to do it every single day. And I remember being the guy explaining to the bosses like what a tweet is and
Yeah.
why it matters.
Yeah.
And now I got people on the team telling me every day, how to manage a Facebook group and why I need to care more about TikTok. And it's been a fun evolution.
Very cool. Very cool. Cue the GIF of Wayne's World. You're not worthy. You're my Alice Cooper. Right now,
Thank
my
you.
friend.
Thank you.
Okay, so for this segment, we're going to hit Buck with the lightning round. So these are lightning fast questions and lightning fast answers, kind of quick time reaction. Let's go ahead and start with, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, wow. I think I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Okay. What was your first job?
My first job was a basketball coach, high school basketball coach in Coney County, Georgia.
All right. What was your record?
We lost our first 5 games, then we won state.
Okay.
Very proud of that one. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. I like it. We did talk about you are a basketball player. What position did you play?
Mostly bench.
Okay.
Waved a really good towel. Third string point guard, probably.
All right.
That's the best way to describe what I did.
Yep.
Combination of like LeBron, Wilt, Iverson, a few others.
Love it. In one word, describe the social networks. Let's start with Twitter.
Real time.
Facebook.
Communities.
Instagram.
Aesthetic.
Snapchat.
Teenagers.
TikTok.
Amazing.
What's your social media pet peeve?
All right. Without a doubt, it's I think that people who are online, and you've probably heard this before, need to show a little bit more empathy to the people that we cover every day.
Yeah.
You know,
Trolls.
There are people who step into the arena every day. They step into the stadium. They step into the public spotlight, and they go up against the best in the world. And we are very too quick to criticize, I believe, especially in a few sentences.
All right, I'm going to run with this for a second.
Yeah,
what's your funniest mistake that you've seen in your time?
Funniest mistake. My favorite mistake ever, and I'm going to owe him 10 dinners and 20 beers for talking about this, is one of our colleagues who is squarely in line with millennial culture and understands jokes that I would never understand. A lot of SpongeBob memes that go right over my head.
Yep.
Thought that Sandy Koufax was Bill Nye the Science Guy. And it is my favorite faux pas of all time. Completely harmless.
Yes.
Probably actually gave us a lot of new followers.
Did this go out through a channel?
And, oh yeah.
Yeah. Where was it? Twitter?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But my favorite part about it is the way our team just rallied around him and just said, harmless, hilarious, you know, almost like a welcome to the club moment. We all make mistakes. Congratulations on joining the party of imperfect producers. No one harmed, no one hurt, no one insulted. Loved it.
Okay, and then finally, in 3 words, the best stories are?
I think the best stories are emotional, good or bad. Either make you laugh, make you cry, make you sad, make you think. I think the best stories are they're evergreen. You know, a great story today is still going to be a great story in 100 years. I think the best stories they're also memorable.
Yep.
So it's, you know, you remember great stories from your childhood. That's a good story. It's a good sign of a good story. You know, every year, certain events might trigger stories about those events, and those are the types of stories that we want to tell, the ones that you just remember year after year after year.
I love it. Good. That concludes the lightning round. All right, so Buck, in this last segment, we're just gonna have you tell us a story. So let's hear your best story.
All right. A story I like to tell that's very specific to this team and sort of who we are. I like to think that something about this team that makes us a little different is that we feel like we're just sports fans representing other sports fans. You know, we're fans serving fans, if you will. And it's something that we try to think about. You know, we don't want to serve fans on a high horse. We don't want to be seen as the producers that sit in the air-conditioned skybox and criticize down at the field. You know, we really want to celebrate with fans. And a story that I like about this is 2018. We were in Moscow for the World Cup, and we went into the summer, and we thought, you know what? The biggest storylines are Messi and Neymar and Ronaldo, 3 of the most popular athletes on the planet. Mm-hmm. They got more social followers than like everyone else combined. You know, if these guys blow up, it's going to be the story of the tournament. And we prepared so much content, you know, so much content for these 3 characters. And don't get me wrong, it did very well, but I think it was our first night there, still getting acclimated, still suffering from jet lag a little bit. And I couldn't sleep because there was what felt like 1 million Mexican fans outside of my hotel room. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't sleep anyway. I figured I'd go out and see what it was all about. And I went out, and they had changed the lyrics to 7 Army Nation to chant Chucky Lozano's name, their hero, and their great young new phenom, you know. And I just filmed it. And I thought, this is kind of cool. I mean, there's so many people here. They're singing in unison. They're having the absolute time of their life. And I sent it back to the team here in LA. And because, you know, everyone's awake back here. Yep. And I said, this is what it's like to be here. And I didn't really think too much of it. Woke up the next day, and the team, because they're much smarter than me, thought it was actually good content. Not just like, hey, look what I'm doing in Moscow, but it was content.
Yep.
And they shared it online, and I think by morning it had 4 million views.
Oh man.
And so we started talking as a team, and we were like, okay, the plan's definitely the superstars, but people, especially for the World Cup, it felt, love the world celebration of soccer.
Yes.
And they love seeing the passion through the eyes of other people that are celebrating their country or celebrating their local heroes. And we began instantly working with our linear production team to either put cameras in local communities so we could see passion around the world, from Brazil to London, all across Europe, or use social listening to really like find videos that were popping up of fandom in local communities.
Yep.
And we very quickly, and partially because some of these star athletes I mentioned, they lost, we really started leaning more heavily on fan emotion and fan passion. And I think by the end of the Men's World Cup, it represented 8 of our top 10 videos. And many of those were shot on cell phones, like mine,
Yep.
not intended for public use,
Yep.
that we were able to clear or use and share with fans. And it was more popular than any of our highlights. I mean, Ronaldo had a hat trick. These videos were far more popular. People like debating, like the fans in London who all throw their beer in the air when England scores. What's the strategy? Do you have to have 2 beers so you can throw one in the air and drink the other? I think that video did 16 million views.
Oh, that's incredible.
Significantly more than anything that any of our world-class stars did through their highlights. So I think celebrating fandom was a learn that I had that we now try to apply to college football, NFL, etc.
It's so raw. I mean, the real-time nature of the fan-created content. It's happening anywhere. It can be geolocated to happening in a matter of seconds. And if you can discover that, I mean, that can be some of the most powerful context you can give a story.
Yeah, it translates too.
Yeah.
Everyone celebrates. Everyone has
absolutely.
passion. Everyone loves their country and wants to support their local heroes.
Sports is a great unifier, right? I mean, it takes people from all different regions to all different class levels and brings them together, unified around, a team that they love or even a team that they hate.
That's very true.
Yeah.
But similarly, when it comes to watching people celebrate, another story that comes to mind, halfway through the tournament, we noticed Fortnite was a term that a lot of our fans were using.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, of course,
Did you know what Fortnite was back then?
I did.
Okay.
I barely, but I did.
Yeah.
I'm not that old. But, you always see terms. You always see Bieber. You always see huge names, right?
Yep.
Huge terms. Of course, Fortnite's trending. But, man, it's really trending alongside France. So is FIFA. And the more we dug into it, it's like, oh, wow, there's more to the story. Antoine Griezmann is, every time he scores a goal, he's actually celebrating by doing Fortnite dances. And when Paul Pogba scores, he's celebrating by doing FIFA dances.
Oh, that's incredible.
And, I remember bringing this to, our lead feature producer, who had no idea what Fortnite was.
Yep.
And had, aware of FIFA, but would have never known some of the things that were happening within these games. And it was like, hey, look, here are the facts. There are 100,000 people tweeting about this right now. There is a conversation going on that only a certain, probably age group is aware of. And most of the age group of the production room is not aware of.
Yep.
And, it's one of those great moments I'm like very proud of as a company is, that's undeniable. That's just what people want to hear about.
Well, now you're unifying 2 different audiences too, because you've got the soccer, diehard, and then you've got the Fortnite fans, and they will find interest, obviously, with the context of what they love in the game of soccer, which is one of the world unifiers.
How validating if you're
Yeah.
a fan of you're,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a little geeky. Oh, wait, nope. One of the
Yep.
world's most popular players is doing
Yes.
my dance on TV.
Yes.
That was an awesome moment. And we put together a feature. It was by far the most viewed feature. We distributed it digital. And we were very lucky in that France kept winning, which meant we kept airing it. And, France went on, played in the finals. That feature came at the top of the pregame show for the World Cup final.
Yep.
And France would go on and win it. So it was a very nice story for us on how if we're fans first and we're not sitting on our high horse and we really listen, they're going to give us a lot of cheat codes on how to serve them, and that was a great example of that.
I love that. And honestly, I think that parlays into what you guys did this last summer with the Women's World Cup, and honestly, probably one of the best interactive shows I've seen in your Twitter Live show. Would love for you to tell us a little bit more about
Thank
how
you.
that concept came about, and just, your, almost how does that represent how you see the future of programming across broadcast, whether that be linear or live?
Sure. Well, first things first, I think it's kind of almost like a technical thing. Like, these are earned media platforms,
Yep.
And the more people that engage with your content, the more people you reach. If you engage with our show, then you essentially expose us to your timeline and all of your millions of friends and followers. So, we want to be creating engaging content because we just think that's better content, very subjectively, but objectively, we need to be engaging people to reach people. What better way to engage people than to say, hey, we're listening. If you comment, if you engage with us, you can be on our show. And so we did a countdown to our show that just had a simple question. It might be, the U.S. women's national team winning this game got me like blank. Give us your best GIF. And, we'll get 200 GIF replies in 10 minutes, and we can start cycling those through the countdown screen to the show, build up your audience, show starts. Who's on the screen? Well, two amazing personalities that have their own massive social audiences, and Karina LeBlanc and Aaron West, who are, you can actually watch them retweeting the show to their fans live on camera. And so we're very proud, we're very proud of both products. The World Cup Now show we did from Moscow, the World Cup Now show we did from Paris. I think we got smarter as producers for Paris, and the numbers were better. We grew from, I think, 7 million views to 10 million views, despite less shows. So we're very proud of that integration. It was the first time I'd ever seen the integration, which I was proud about.
Yeah.
It's hard to measure innovation, but I love that.
Yep.
But yeah, the results speak for themselves.
Yeah, it was a remarkable show, and I mean, you guys have obviously even parlayed that into college football and some of the other properties that you're now representing moving forward. And I'm super excited to see what you do next.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.